Hello, everybody. Made it Friday, back live. It's been a couple weeks.
30 seconds, Denise, sorry.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're getting ready to roll back live this week. And what a week it's been. So let's get ready for this. It's going to be quite the ride. It already has been. All right. Here we go. Hello, thank you for tuning in today. You are listening to the Financial Chick Show, and I am the Financial Chick. My name is Denise Nostrom, the CEO and owner of Diversified Financial Solutions, a full-service independent financial planning firm located in Medford. I'm here live every Friday from 5:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. on 103.9 LI News Radio. Your Financial Chick is here to help you make better financial decisions and choices to improve your life and reduce your anxiety and stress about money. If you have any questions on anything we discuss on the show, you can always check out my website at financialchickshow.com. We're also on Facebook and Instagram at Diversified Financial Solutions. So like our page and get updates to see what is happening. So speaking of what is happening, what the heck is happening? So much. I really probably need about a 4-hour show today with all the material that I have, but I just have a half an hour, so that's why I'm talking quickly. No, I'm only kidding. I won't talk that fast. But I do have a lot of material. I am back live this week. Last week, I was actually on vacation. My daughter is turning 16 in May, so she opted to not have a Sweet 16 party, but in lieu of the party, go on vacation. So we decided to go in February, which we get away from the cold here in New York, which, gosh, today, like coming here, I had to change my jacket before I came to the studio today because I didn't realize how cold it was. It's like really cold. So being away, it was a win for all, but it's definitely a different world in Florida with regard to, well, the masking, or I should say the lack of masking, and just kind of seems a lot different. Although this week, it's so funny how things change by the week. I'm actually going by the hour lately. I think things change on an hourly basis, but I know we've had a lot of changes here too with regard to masking, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. But it was great. So she had brought 3 of her girlfriends with us. So it was my husband, myself, and 4 teenage girls. And yes, we did make it home alive. And I didn't hurt any of them either because I kind of laid down the law and made sure that they were going to do the right things because, you know, teenagers can be a little bit crazy, but they were good. They were really good because I told them, I guess threatened them, I mean, if you want to say that they would be sent home on a plane if they did anything bad. So they were good. No, they're good kids, though. And we had a great time. We did a lot. We went to Keys. Drove down there. We stayed in Weston, which is not too far from Fort Lauderdale. So we went to the beach, which is basically what they wanted to do almost every day, but we try to mix it up a little bit. Took an airboat. We saw some alligators, and we got a chance to actually go. My husband and I to go to the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida, which was awesome. That was really, really neat to see. And they had a band and a DJ and just a lot of fun. Got to catch up with some friends and just all around a very good time. So the girls actually got the news while we were away that they would not have to wear masks at school starting on Ash Wednesday, which was this past Wednesday, March 2nd. So they were really, really excited about that. So I think they were ready to go home, but you're never ready to go back to school. But I think the whole not having to wear a mask definitely sweetened the deal, and it was pretty good deal. So I tend to have this. I guess fate or this, I don't know, I do this all the time. I tend to go away when the market just goes awry. So maybe it's me, and I don't know, when I go away, I should know that everything's going to go crazy. But I went away last week, one of the worst weeks in the stock market, and of course a war starts between Ukraine and Russia. So, my timing is perfect. It was funny because this also happened in 2008 when the market was down over 700 points. It happened to be like a Monday or a Tuesday. And, the market had been like volatile and crazy. So my husband was crazy, my daughter was small. We decided to go out to Montauk just to get away from everything. And that's when the market took a big downturn. And, the craziness and the world was imploding, and I had calls and people panicking. So this week was quite interesting. But fortunately, my staff said that last week that the office was pretty quiet. The phones were quiet, which was great. So we are back. And, the noise actually is very loud right now. There's a lot going on, a lot happening. So what I'm going to try to do today is kind of diffuse some of the craziness. And I can't lessen the noise, but I can make the noise a little bit more palatable, I guess. If we'll try to do that. So it's up to me to keep up with the drama, so you or my clients don't have to do so. So unfortunately, this is the fourth week of a down market cycle. So it's been another wild ride this week, with the market being way down and then rebounding and then going down. The Dow Jones was down 540 at the low today, but settled down to close at around 179. So it did rebound a little bit, which was good. That's strength, but this is not surprising based on what's going on right now. But of course, for everybody out there with their 401ks, with their IRAs, their Roth IRAs, and just investments in general, it can be very unsettling. Especially since we have not seen a market like this with such extreme gyrations for several years. So there's a lot of stuff to unpack here as to what's going on. So one of which is the barrel of oil. So the barrel of oil now is trading around $115 a barrel. Just a little real life story. So my assistant, Ellen, said that she paid $48 to fill up her car 8 days ago. And then last night, she filled up her car. Now, mind you, this is with her Stop and Shop 20 cents off. Okay, I don't know if everybody knows what their Stop and Shop, you can get points off your gas. So she paid $61. So 8 days ago, $48, $61 to fill up same vehicle. So that's a lot. I mean, this gets into your financial situation. Obviously, we have and I talk about all the time, our expenses. Our expenses have gone up, but our income. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. We'll talk about the income in a second. But so, as a matter of fact, gas prices now are up over 48% since Biden has come into office. So that's a pretty substantial situation. And then you hear a lot about Bitcoin. Now, interesting, just today, Bitcoin was down over 6%. So there was a lot of speculation this week, and everybody talks about Bitcoin. That it's a hedge against inflation, and it's a good alternative because if the stock market's not doing well. We've had some days where that was true, but we're finding out that really isn't, a die-hard fact that it's going to be a good hedge against inflation or a hedge against the market. So, I guess the bottom line, things are at a major state of flux right now. So it's not time to panic or make any impulsive moves. So I'm going to tell you a few stories that happened this week, and these are all true stories. So they came back to back. I got some emails. There are two of my 30-something year old clients, and they both asked about stopping their monthly contributions into their plans based on the situation, the stuff that's going on in the marketplace and in the economy right now. So my answer was a definitive absolutely not. This, and I know this sounds crazy, but this is actually a gift. Now, it's not a gift for everybody, but it's a gift for those people that do have the time to put away in the market, especially if you're 30-something. This is an awesome thing. So if you're putting away money into your Roth IRAs monthly or your 401k, 403b, you're buying at great prices right now because the market's on sale. So I would definitely say do not, and as I told my two clients, my two 30-something clients, especially them, don't stop putting money in. I would rather you'd make an adjustment in your portfolio as opposed to the new money. The new money is awesome to put in, so it's a great time to start, especially when the market's down like this. So just keep doing what you're doing. Another thing, and I'm probably going to run into the break, but the next call was a client called earlier in the week concerned. He was a little concerned, so he wanted to go to the bank and get some money out of the bank. And I just have a little cash at home, which is always something I highly encourage. You know, you never know what's going on. When he went to the bank, they said, the teller said to him that people were doing a run on the bank and were taking all of their money out of the bank in fear of what was going on. So he said to me, what should I do? So I said, definitely the fact, take some money out and keep some money at home, but there is absolutely no reason to take all of your money out of the bank. It's almost like shooting yourself in the foot. You don't want to do something just to, as an impulse move. This is still happening in Russia and Ukraine. Yes, it can affect us here locally, which it is, but it's not something that you should run to the bank or run to the market and just take everything out. So it's time to not panic and just relax. So we're running into the commercial break, but this is the financial chick, Denise Nostrom, the company's Diversified Financial Solutions. I help you look for financial solutions and get you through these hard times when you feel like there's no alternatives. So feel free to contact me at 631-758-8691. We're going to the break, but stay tuned. There's a whole lot more I have to say. And like I said, I only have about 15 minutes to do it. Or actually less than that, but I'll need a longer show. Stay tuned. We'll be back at the break. Right, some show today, a lot to talk about, a lot to say.
2 minutes, Denise, okay?
Thank you. So hope everybody's doing well out there. When I have it on this thing, I can never see who's out there. But if you joined, I want to thank you. And we're going to wrap up the show with some more stuff in a few.
One minute.
Okay, thank you. 1 minute.
Thirty seconds.
Thank you. Welcome back. This is Denise Nostrom. You are listening to the Financial Chick Show. The company is in Medford, and you can reach me at 631-758-8691 or visit my website at financialchickshow.com. We are here to help you on your financial journey. Over the years, things change. Things are changing daily, as I said before, but I'm here to help you navigate all of those changes. So before the break, we were talking a little bit about just all the stuff that's going on, oil and just the craziness that's happening with the market and Ukraine and Russia, and it just seems like an absolute frenzy right now. But I was talking about some phone calls or some emails I've received from clients, and I go over this because I'm sure these are questions that you may have in your mind too. So one of which was, should I stop putting money away because of the current crisis and everything that's going on? And it was a resounding no. This is a great time. Maybe manage the assets that you have in your plan, but if you're putting into your Roth or putting into your 401k, continue to do that. It's a gift right now, and I know that sounds weird, but it's really true, and it's one of the best times to invest when you can get things at a bargain. Another thing, a client called about people going into the bank. He went to his bank and the tellers were telling him that people were taking money out of the bank in fear of what's going on. Again, don't do any knee-jerk things or don't have a knee-jerk reaction based on what's going on. The information's still coming out on a day-to-day basis. You don't want to cut off your nose to spite your face, so to speak. So definitely have some money. It's always a great idea to have some cash at home. Just when we had the Y2K, all these different things, these are times when, yes, you should have some cash available, just in case there's some type of situation, but to extract or take all of your money out of the bank doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The third, this was more of a review I had with a client who lives out in Minnesota, and it's very interesting, just as an FYI. He's an IT person, a technology person with Target, and he lives out in Minnesota, Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'll get it out. And so we had a phone call review, and he wanted to know if he should make any changes to his accounts, and so we were going over his portfolio, and it was really interesting because we were looking at things, and he saw that a few of the funds that he had that he was ready to get rid of about a year ago or a year and a half ago were the best performers now. And actually, in the series of funds that he had, I go through with my clients this like a list, so it'll show each account that they have, whether it's a Roth IRA, an individual account, whatever, and each one of the investments that are in those particular registrations or those accounts. So when he looked at all of the various funds that were in this one particular account, he realized that there was a consumer staples fund, and a year to a year and a half ago, it was one of the worst performing sectors, and it happened to turn, and it's the best performing sector. Actually, year over year, it was up 19% for him. And he's like, oh my God, I can't believe that. I said, this is exactly what's going on. Really, you were able to just kind of throw a dart and make money over the past couple of years, but things have clearly changed at this point. Now it's really a time to take a look at your portfolio with someone like myself to make sure you're in the right places at the right time and make adjustments as needed. So it's just very interesting because he's done well, and he was actually in shock. But I told him we're going to make some adjustments now with those things that did 19 or 16 year over year. Probably won't replicate that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some off that, off those funds, and put them into things that are negative. And it sounds so counterintuitive, but you want to sell high and buy low, right? That's the whole gig, but people never do that. So that's something that I help my clients to do. So like I said, you really could have threw a dart and you did well over the past few years, but the tide has definitely changed. Now is when the real work begins, and you really need to have a plan of attack for investing. If you don't, you really need to get a plan. For many people, their 401k and their 403b plans or deferred comp, whatever you have, are your biggest assets, usually second to your home, and in some cases, maybe more valuable than your home. Wouldn't you want to make sure that you have some guidance as to how to invest the biggest asset you own? We have a solution that enables you to assist you in investing your money for new contributions, and also to make sure the money that's in your plan is protected and properly invested in the right funds at the right time. So it's kind of wrapping an insurance, it's not insurance, but wrapping an insurance policy over or a net around your plan to make sure you're doing the right things at the right time. It's something you're given guidance on a monthly basis, and it's just something you really should take a look at, especially in times of extreme volatility. Many of the clients that are involved in this program, they've been sitting, or a lot of their money has been put into cash, so they were able to preserve and not have this downturn that's been taking place for the past 3 weeks. So if you want any more information on that plan, which is a pay per month plan, and you can come in and out anytime you want, but it protects your retirement plan, you can go to the website diversifiedfinancial.biz and leave your information, and we will reach out to you to show you how you can get involved in that particular program. So it's definitely been quite the week with the stock market, gas, Bitcoin, inflation, Russia, Ukraine war. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But we also had a presidential State of the Union address this week. So did you watch? Many people I spoke to this week either said they watched a little bit or just did not watch at all. So I did watch the whole thing. I'm not going to lie, it was a bit painful. Now I hate to move on to politics because we should not discuss it. It's one of those things, right, that we should sadly, or we should not talk about. But sadly, it's part and parcel of what I do, and I have to be on top of things for my clients to make sure that we know what's going on or protecting you from things that may go on. So honestly, I have to admit it was fabulous to really disconnect last week while I was on vacation. But I'm caught up now, to my chagrin, and I have to really, keep up to date with all this stuff. So before I start with the hot points of the speech, let's talk about a question that I think most of us had this past few weeks. Many of you may have looked it up like I did, but for those that didn't, let's discuss. All right, so exactly what is an oligarch? I had no idea. I really had no idea what that was. I heard it, but I guess it really never had to resonate in my world, that I just figured I don't really, heard of it, but I didn't know. So, more generally, an oligarch is a member of an oligarchy, a person who is part of a small group holding power in a state. The term is commonly used in the Western press to describe Russian businessmen, a very rich business leader with a great deal of political influence. So that's basically what we're seeing right now. The yachts, and they're trying to. I know there's people that are in New York, and they're trying to get the wealth that these people have, because they're wielding a lot of control over what's going on. So I'm not going to get into the trenches of that. But what I will go into is some of the things that were said at the State of the Union. So the price of diesel oil, I talked about regular oil at $1.15. The price of diesel oil went up to $4.24 a gallon. And my husband being a truck driver, that's like a huge thing. Now we don't talk about trickle down, but that does trickle down, because now you got to realize that your goods are going to cost more money, because it costs more for this stuff to be transported and to be moved and brought to your local, whether it be a car dealership or your supermarket. And one thing that was very interesting, and I'm not going to get to everything I want, I'm going to have to do this next week, but one of the things that the president said was that wage increases can, the way he said it was that inflation basically can be erased by increasing wages. Now that's great, but unfortunately, we might have seen a little bit of wage increases over the past, 6 months to a year. But the beauty of it is that now with the inflation that you're seeing, you don't have a wage increase. It's basically been wiped out. So we're living in a world of fake reality at this point, and there's a lot of stuff that was said in that State of the Union, which I'm not going to get into, or not be able to get into today, unfortunately. But I got my pulse on the market here, and we will basically kind of navigate and see what's going on. And as the weeks go on, and as these years go on, if we get through them, we will definitely work on everything and talk about how to make your life that much better. So I'm going to end off that being a woman, and being a woman in a very highly male-dominated career. This month is International Women's Month, and I just want to basically say, well, we're going to kind of talk about a few different things, but it's International Women's Day on Tuesday, and I'm going to be bringing some women on that have done great things, and it's just for the women that are listening out there, you too can do great things. Don't, a lot of the speak that they talk about that, we can't do as well is really not true. It's all about you and what you can do. So others have done it, you all can do it. So coming to the end of the show, so have a great weekend, and join me next Friday. This is the Financial Chick. Have a great weekend. I definitely needed more time today, but I couldn't get it. But anyway, if you see me, want to call me, I'll rant with you one-on-one. Have a good weekend, everybody. Take care.